Morning, Shannon.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening. Yeah, you're in Australia, aren't you? Huh?
Yeah, give me a second. I've just got to set up the camera. I've been doing other work.
Fantastic. Well, it's a real honor to be on the call with you today. And
Likewise.
yeah, the purpose is to see what we can do to help each other in this business. Did you get a chance to watch my short little video?
I did. You've had an interesting past with the with real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wrote a little book about it because I made a whole host of mistakes, and I thought, well, let's warn a few people out there. It's not all sunshine and roses, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so a lot of minefields that people have to watch out for sure. Well, thank you for watching it. It saves us a bit of time. Why don't you
Hmm.
let's start out by um, you tell us your journey, why you got into real estate, and let's see how we can help you.
I'm moving to America because I want to make classic Japanese car engines. And in my research on how business works in America, I came across PACE.
Okay.
Um, And I was like, okay, this is a viable way to get capital for the said business venture.
Yeah.
Um,
When are you
so
planning on moving? How soon is that going to be?
next year in the new year.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you got all that planned out and well, where are you actually going to land, as it were? Where are you going to settle?
Don't know yet. We'll see how the rest of the year pans out with what I've got here. I suppose the fallback would be Arizona because being close to the mecca of paces,
Hmm.
work would be a good place to be.
Yeah, that's certainly
Um,
true. Yeah. Yeah, there's
mm,
a lot of big influences all around the country. Yeah. And Arizona's certainly good. Absolutely, because it's a very large market, so you could set up a local base there, definitely. Makes
mm.
sense. Yeah. So, what do you currently do in Australia? What was your line of work?
I do non-destructive testing in oil and gas
Oh,
industry.
okay. Okay. And have you done that since leaving school, or have you done?
No, I've been in it about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took, yeah. I chose it as a because non-destructive testing gets used when in the manufacture and like refurbishment of engines. So
I
it
see.
was sort of like an ends to a means to get closer to my end goal.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
mm.
And did you say you had a family, Shannon? You got a wife and kids?
No, single.
Single, okay. So you're a free bird then, huh? So
Yeah, yeah.
that makes
We'll
it
see how the
easier.
Aussie accent works in America when picking up someone.
Yeah, so it makes it easier for you to move, certainly, and it's a big change. I
Yeah,
know I moved over 20 years ago, and it's like a culture shock, you know? You kind of speak a similar language, right? Along the English lines, but it's surprisingly different, and it takes a while to get used to everything.
yeah. I've noticed. Well, because I've got a virtual number, um, I was finding I was having trouble communicating with people in the States,
Mm,
and I thought it might have been the connection. So I got a friend to call me, and we had a chat, and I was just like, okay, this is we might both speak English, but Americans speak it differently, and I'm going to now have to learn how to speak in English in American so that I can communicate appropriately.
that's right. Yes, I know. I still come out with a few English words which confuses them. Like I say,
Mm.
where's the lift? And they say, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're looking for
sorry,
the
elevator, you know. And
yep.
there's things like that, you'll come across.
Mm.
And mm. So yeah, that sounds good. How do you think I could help you in your real estate business? I presume you're already a gator. Are you in sub two as well?
No, just Gator at the moment. Because I didn't know real estate to start with and learning America. like
Mm.
learning the whole lot. With it being a distance, I figured I would just start with one and fill out my knowledge in that area and then move on to the next.
I see. All right. Well, that's very wise as well, because you can have too many things going on. I've done that
Mm,
repeatedly in the past, and it's always been a mistake. You can get distracted, and each method needs a lot of focus and direction. You got to put your
yeah,
energy into that one thing and make it work, and give it enough time. Any real estate strategy needs at least 90 days of sharp focus,
yeah,
to actually, see if you can get the traction, because that's the hardest bit, getting the traction I've found, in the
mm,
in the past. And that's really why I probably ended up with the apartments I did, because I was focused on that one thing. I got the course, dove into it, started implementing it right away. And then up with all those apartments, of course, making a lot of mistakes as well. And that's the advantage with Pacers community. You're going to have support in their network and people you can talk with, and they'll help you and everything else. So it is important to be well plugged in, well networked, and I think that's the biggest thing I missed the first time round. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, you just have a wealth of knowledge already, and you've just got to add in a few things, and then you're excelling at it completely anyway.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's,
exactly right. There's plenty to learn. You're never going to learn everything in real estate.
mm,
There's always another course to do, and I've certainly spent a lot of money on courses, and you
yeah,
don't need to within Pace. I'm glad you found Pace, with the Gator. You may not even need to do sub two, because we're all one community and you can network. And that's the important thing with any real estate, is to learn who's who and how to put the puzzle together, or as it
yeah,
were, build your own team. You don't need to know everything, which is a huge relief, because we don't have time to learn it all, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I am interested in his business acquisition side that
Mm.
is within sub two. So we'll see
Yeah.
in future how that plays out. But
Mm.
yeah, for the moment, it is certainly like for me, the what I do now as a career, it's like the third career that I've gotten into in the last 12 years. And I've
Mm.
been getting better at starting from scratch and then working out what I need to do to get somewhere with something.
Yes.
So this essentially is the fourth version of trying at it.
Right.
And I'm getting more focused and clued on to how to unpack what I need to do to move forward.
Mm.
So yeah, at the moment it's just, and then we'll see what we can do in the next
It's
step.
interesting. Yeah. And I'm a little bit open to businesses too. I'm kind of one of the side things I'm doing is looking for coin laundries right now. They're a good
Oh
cash
yeah,
flow business, and so if one comes up, I'll take it, because it's I have to be there all the time. You do essentially turn up and collect the money and make sure the contractor employees are doing what they should be doing, and
yep,
keeping an eye on that. So that's something I'm open to um, doing. And then anything that supports, or accelerates your real estate investing, like that. So
yep,
businesses are good. Real
mm,
estate is the perfect place to bank your money, as it were, for good return.
yeah,
Banks are no
yeah,
good. So
yeah,
real estate, I think of it as like the best bank to invest in, right? So yeah. And my main focus right now is large multifamilies. So I'm looking at that. And like all other real estate investments, you don't need any money of your own. It's really about networking, finding those who want to deploy the money, and
yeah,
who understand that real estate investing is the best bank to put your money and make your
Yeah.
money work for you. Yeah,
The do you do all your underwriting for that yourself? Because
I
I know
do.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah, I do.
very different to single family.
Yes, it is, because it's a business, you see. So, and
Mm,
as you're interested in business, you'll understand a little bit about that, right? The NOIs and look at your profit and loss and
yeah.
everything else. Yeah, it's an entirely different mindset, and it's better. By better, I mean it's safer because you're buying a business essentially, and it's a stable business because people need to have somewhere to live. It needs to be affordable. It's affordable housing essentially, apartments.
Yeah.
You know? So
Mm,
it serves community well. It's a much needed service. So it just makes a lot of sense from scaling on the large side because you have the more professionals there. There's more safeguards in place, more rules,
yeah.
as it were, when it comes to
Mm,
the capital raise. Because there's more eyes on the project, it tends to be harder to make the mistakes. You'll still make them, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
anything in life, but it's a little bit safer, and it's just a case of gaining skills and education to get onto the team, as it were, as a team player. And it's a great way of creating wealth in a much shorter period of time, shall we say, than single family homes. That's the thing I discovered the first time around
Mm,
was I needed hundreds of doors. You mean at the time this was over 20 years ago. It
mm,
seemed you did well if you got $100 a door, and in real estate. So you can get a little bit more now. You can go for like 250 if you do things well.
mm.
But it takes a lot of those doors in single families, right? And a lot of time and effort to get to a living wage where you can live off it. So it just makes sense to do the larger multifamilies where you're buying one deal might change your life and bring in the income that you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And all it takes is focusing on the same knowledge build up or the amount of time for the same knowledge build up for the parameters that you need to be focusing on within that structure.
Yeah. And because there's more team players, the biggest gain over anything else is the time freedom. It doesn't take that long. If you
Yep.
like, my goal is like one or two of these deals a year, and that's all that's needed. You can
Yep.
obviously do more if you want, but the time put into that is much less than if you were to do the equivalent number of doors in single families. You might take you a decade, actually, if you're talking about 100
Yeah.
units.
Mm.
Whereas, whereas large multifamilies would take a year. So you're 10xing, even 100xing your income, and
Yeah.
yeah, your money from it. So
Mm.
it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And of course, Pace is doing multifamilies. You know that. He doesn't shout it from the rooftops, excuse the pun,
No.
too much, but he does mention it. And,
Mm.
he's got Vina Jetty, and who does concentrate on large multifamilies. She does 200 doors or more. She likes the 400 units. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, do you have any questions for me, Shannon?
Um, at the moment, how can I help you? What are the things that you don't have that you are looking for from others?
That's a great question. The main thing that we are doing all the time is capital raise. So,
Yeah.
it's if you find somebody who's chomping at the bit, the professional who has, 6-figure sum to deploy. You
Yep.
could be a connector in that. Or gator wrestle with them if you want to be part of the deal. I have
Yep.
started a YouTube channel, which I'd encourage you to Let me bring this up.
Is that the same the short video was on?
Yes, that's right, and you'll appear on that later as well. So good, you can promote yourself there. This interview. Let's see. And what you can do is participate in that, but it does have a short educational series
Yeah.
where you can learn about the multifamily, and if you watch all the other interviews, it'll save you a lot of time. In answer, I've answered those questions and a lot of the educational there. That'd be a nice way for you to do it in your own time, as it were, you know. And if you make comments and ask any questions, that'll help me produce more videos, you know, and answering questions. So I want to try and develop a channel that's useful for anybody interested in the large multifamilies, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out later. I'll definitely check out the educational stuff. Like, it doesn't matter for me if I'm learning similar things 5 times over, because there's always going to be little snippets in there that'll I can add into the repertoire and keep in the memory bank for later.
Yeah.
So,
And the main value of listening as well is if it prompts a question, right? You put it in the comments and then I can do a video on it, and it accelerates the learning. So we help each other that way, right? So I want to develop a channel that is useful. So I've kicked it off, as I say, with all the basics. And I'm continuing one today. I'm gonna shoot a video today on the benefits of large multifamilies. So this feeds
yeah.
into some of the things we just talked about, you see. So it
Mm.
kind of, you know, snowballs in that way. Yeah. So,
Yep, for sure.
yeah. Any other questions?
Mm. No, I
No?
know there's still a lot. I'm in the I don't know what I don't know phase.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
yeah,
understand.
I'm still, as
Yeah.
I'm going, I find out new things, and then yeah, I may
Yeah.
have questions for you in the future, but for
Mm.
now,
Do you
I
have
think
large multifamilies in Australia? Are there?
not to the size that you have in the States.
Right.
Um, like, we've got, what is it, 26 million, and like, you basically have the same amount in Florida. So
Mm.
it just doesn't equate to the same volume.
I
You,
got you.
some of the
Yeah.
bigger stuff might be 100, but
Mm.
yeah.
So if I were to rent out an apartment, say in Australia, how many US dollars would that be a month, do you think?
Well, I haven't looked at the. It it would be depend on which city, and I haven't looked at apartments. I've got a house, um, which is usually around. You'd be looking like $400 to $500.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
US for
much
that one.
cheaper then, yeah.
Yeah,
How much is a typical single family home, say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,500 square foot in your neighborhood?
you'd be somewhere like, you'd be 600 to 800 for that. I paid
Okay.
just under 600 for a 3x2 townhouse.
Okay.
Um, and it's, I can't remember the footprint, but it's still pretty small.
Yeah. Okay. So that's US dollars, 600?
No, that's all Australian stuff. So probably 2/3 of that would be
Oh,
the
very nice.
equivalent.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite cheap. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. You're going to be quite shocked at the prices. You've probably already seen that over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've
It
seen the
does.
market and
There's some intriguing things like the tax rebates on depreciation for houses. We don't have that in Australia. So something
okay.
that's 50 years old is basically they just flatten the house and put a new one up
Mm,
instead of renovating.
okay.
So you don't get your fix and flips happening anywhere near as frequently as what you do in the States.
Okay.
Um, the um, and we don't have. I think the UK is the same. You can't have the deed separate to the loan.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, So we can't do subject twos, and owner finance or seller finance does happen, but only when the property is fully owned
Mm,
by the person. So it's very rare.
okay. Yeah, we have
Mm.
something, and I never really learnt it too well in the UK. Freehold and things like that. Freehold and lease or something. Where the land is leased for 99 years, or it's free, which means you can own the land right away. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. That's
I don't know
intriguing.
much about that, but because I mainly studied here in the US, I've been here over 20 years, so
Mm.
I did move a lot, and I always went for the freehold, which means you're on the lands, and the house sits on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat as well. I know very little. Like even though I've bought a property in Australia, like I know
Mm,
very little about the real estate
yeah.
sector, and
Right.
I've learned and know much more about the American real estate sector
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So,
That's great. Well, Shannon, it's
mm,
been a real pleasure meeting you, especially all across the world there. That's amazing in Australia. I've never been to Australia. I would like to go, sometime. I guess the closest I come is the Philippines to that
yep.
area. And I lived in Hong Kong for a while. Well, I know that's still a long way away from Australia, but
Yep.
kind of kind of a similar time zone, the Philippines, because you're what, 12 hours ahead?
Yeah, yeah. It's 8:45 at night at the moment.
Yeah, so you're 12 hours. So exactly the same time zone as the Philippines, so
Mm.
I know you're still a long way away, but
It
uh
gets just as hot, just the humidity isn't quite as Philippine bad.
right, yeah, yeah. And of course you got your winter right now, and you yeah, has it been a bad winter, or what's it been like?
Um, where I've like where I live, it's been raining quite a lot, but where I've been working, because I work away, which
Yeah,
is further north, it's basically been sunshine.
yeah. Okay, very nice.
Been a little
Okay.
bit cold overnight, but the rest of the time it's warm.
Hmm. Well, as I say, Shannon, it's been great to meet with you, and thank you for your time. Don't
No
hesitate
worries.
to book another call with me if you would like to chat further. And definitely, if you can help me with the YouTube channel, that'd be amazing. And
No worries.
yeah, or even look at my book on Amazon if you like. And if you're curious, it's only 26
I'll
pages. I
probably
plan to write another one. Yeah.
if I buy it, it'll probably end up on my Kindle, and like every other book, they end up on the Kindle and I don't read them.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I know. You don't have to. I just mention it just in case you're curious,
yep,
And you don't have to at all. It is on Kindle as well, actually. So yeah. So yeah, all right. Well, you have a wonderful day, and
no
thank you
worries.
again
You
for
too.
joining me.
You have a good
All right.
day.
You too. Bye bye for now.